your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestling with Freddie. Jeff Dye is on assignment in the great state of Texas, so you're stuck with me. I can't see crap today, so I'm wearing my glasses. Everyone bear with me. Let's start the show. All right, you guys. The year is wrapping up, and this is my final episode from the United States. I am flying to Australia the evening this episode comes out, and I think, or maybe the next day. And then I have to fly for like 17 days. I think that's how long the trip is these days. And I'll land in Australia, and I will continue to podcast from there just for you guys. And I will figure out how to watch all of the wrestling that I need to watch so that I'm up to speed and up to date. I hope all of you guys are well. I will do an update of my promotion on the Thursday show, Unsanctioned Thursday. So stay tuned for that as well. Hopefully I give you guys some exciting news, and I can't tell you everything yet, but I can give you a little more tasty taste. And other than that, let's start the show. Monday Night Raw. It was a pre-tape, but that's okay, guys. We're not going to get mad at them. It was a little bit of fallout from Crown Jewel. Liv Morgan came out, and they're focusing much more on the ring of Crown Jewel than the title, which you guys know I'm not a fan of. But she had the ring. She was rocking it. She bragged about hurting Rhea Ripley. I can't believe Rhea's hurt again, man. We barely got her back. We barely got her back, and now she's freaking gone. Anyway, she gets interrupted by Jade Cargill. For a second, I thought it was just going to be Jade, and I was like, oh, shit, is she coming out? And then later in the show, Bianca's going to be like, yo, girl, why didn't you tell me you were going out to challenge? What's up? But no, they didn't do that. Bianca and Jade both came out. Before shit gets too beefy, Adam Pearce came out and kind of, squashed everything. And then he said, we're going to have a fatal four-way for the number one contender for Liv Morgan's world championship. Not the Crown Jewel thing. She gets to keep that. Nobody wants that anyway. So they have this match, and here's my thing. With Rhea hurt, I believe the plan is keep the belt on Liv for as long as we can. She can act, she can wrestle, she can do backstage segments, she can do in-ring segments, she can do cool entrances from the stairs where she was, crying because Dom's saying, I hate you and all this stuff. Like, she can kind of do it all right now. So I don't see the belt coming off her. But Io Sky wins this match because Io can give us a great match. Everybody loves Io, but I don't think Io is winning the championship again because there was no story, no build up, no anything for her to get there. It was just an awesome four-way that she gets to go in now and feature what she can do with them. Her acrobatics are awesome, and they're organic. It's not just flips for the sake of flips. It's very lucha libre style, where it's like, no, you tried to smash me on my head, and I just kept the momentum going, and I landed on my feet because I'm awesome. So I think their story got screwed up, and they're kind of winging it right now and writing a new story while Io and Liv have their little mini build up and then their match. So let's give them some time to find a new story for Liv. Moving on. Why can't I see today? Because you're old, Freddie. Oh yeah, that's why. Let me put these back on. We're going to talk New Day. I've been saying for a while they've got some beef. If you're watching the show, you know they got some beef. A lot of miscommunication. And a lot of people think this is going to be the potential end of the New Day, which would be very sad. No more unicorns, no more pancakes, no more booty-os for the crowd. For those of you who don't know what booty-os are, you think I'm very weird right now, but it's a thing. But I disagree. And it's not because I want to see them broken up. I disagree they're going to break up. I think that all this has been what a magician does, where he shows you something shiny in the one hand. And in the other hand is where the trick's actually happening. And all this drama and all this beefcake that Kofi and Xavier are having is a distraction. And before they actually break up, or right after they break up, there's going to be some glue that returns to the WWE. The largest, jar of glue in the world. And that glue is named Big E. And I think Big E's coming back. And I think he's going to, I said it. I think he's coming back. I think he's going to save the New Day from themselves, whether it's post breakup or right before the breakup. And he's going to bring them back together. He's like the sun, and they're the planets, and they're going to gravitate around them and start circling faster and faster until, the earth explodes and we all die. But I don't think they're going to break up. Or like I said, if they do, that's when Big E will come in and be like, gentlemen, what are we doing? We're brothers. We started this together. We're going to end it together. And they can go off and get their story. So that's what I think is going to happen with the New Day. The Wyatt Six. Jeff really likes the Wyatt Six. I have not bought into it yet. I don't get it. I like everyone involved. I like Bo Dallas. I like Eric Rowan. I like Nikki Cross. I don't know the other guys. I think they're from NXT. Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis. I know a little bit from the creepy stuff with Miz. And they're doing a story with the Miz right now, but this is where suspension of disbelief gets hard. And it might be because I'm 48 years old, but kidnapping is a felony. Like you can't, I just don't. The moment he was in a chair and tied up, I'm like, wait a minute, what? I will say this. The motivation is honest and genuine. The motivation of wanting Miz's head on a spike, if you're Bo Dallas, is honest and organic because of the sort of promise that was made in 2017. I'm going to make you a star, Bo Dallas. I think that was NXT when the superstars had mentors, maybe, or I think that was already over by then. Yeah, that was way over by then. But anyway, he's got beef with him. Dexter Lumis for sure has beef with him, already stalked him and may have kidnapped him already. But yeah, this one is always going to be tricky for me. And it's weird because I really do like everyone involved. I like Bo Dallas. I wanted Bo leave like back in the day on the black and gold NXT. But yeah, so if Jeff was here, he would talk about how much he loves it. But I'm not here to criticize it because I think they gave it organic and honest motives, right? Like Bo has a problem with him. I just don't quite always get the story that they're trying to tell. But again, I'm old. So what are you going to do? We had a fatal four-way between Damian Priest, that is, Dominic Mysterio. I don't call him Dirty Dom. He's misunderstood victim in all this. Sheamus, who I love, and Seth Rollins, who wore big, pointy, spiky coat things. He's still the best. They had a fight. They went to war. Bronson Reed came out and said, screw your war, screw your fight, screw you. You beat me. I'm going to kill everybody. And then he did. Damian Priest wins. And now we're in a situation where I think it's similar to the Io Sky Liv Morgan situation. Unless they pressed pause on the Damian Priest story, and that's the reason they're gonna give this another shot. Which it doesn't feel like that to me. It feels like they need someone who looks like a legit contender to reestablish Gunther. I don't know what he likes to be called, Gunther or Gunther, to reestablish after that loss at Crown Jewel that he's the man. I said this before, I think in our prediction show, not prediction show, but our future of 2025 show. I don't see Gunther losing unless, and I've used this example multiple times. The only way I can see it working is if it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Priest Gunther. And everybody else is like, yo, we want our shot. And they're like, yo, screw you. Every once in a while, there's a triple threat. They get squashed. And then, Gunther or Priest wins again. But I think this is to make Gunther look good. Both guys are going to look good, but it's to make the champ reestablish him as the champ, because now there's this fracture in his armor, and we need to seal that fracture up and make him strong again. So and again, without the story, it's hard for me to believe that the other man can win. Moving on to Friday Night SmackDown. There's really only one story in wrestling that matters right now, you guys, and that's the Bloodline. And rather than sit here and shower it with praise, which we'll give it some flowers. I'm not criticizing at all. It's the best storyline in wrestling. But everybody's talking about that. I want to talk about how it's so good, it's making us almost forget about the world champion, Cody Rhodes. His story is what now? Are they writing it? Is it going to be Kevin Owens? Is Kevin and Randy are trying to kill each other? We'll get into that. Are they building up Kevin to give him a new run at the title where he's not friends, where he won't show mercy like he did in Germany, I believe it was? But the Bloodline as is right now, might be better than it's ever been. I know you're going to argue the Sami Zayn babyface turn is the greatest part of it, and you might be right. But the amount of people getting over now and the amount of people being featured now is so much greater than originally constructed that I don't see how you could pick the Sami Zayn moment, because we have more Sami, but now we have this sort of renegade bloodline where Jacob Fatu is cutting backstage promos now and looking like a stud while he's doing it and letting Roman Reigns know, yo, Solo Sikoa doesn't operate on your schedule. You operate on his schedule. And he came off super clean as in good. I know he looks gritty and mean, but the promo was clean. But he lets us know that Solo will be out there later. Later that night, Solo comes out. And he's starting to expand his toolbox as far as his mic work goes. And Roman interrupts him and comes out and starts talking. And Solo, you see him trying new stuff and experimenting with new stuff. He's laughing in his face more. He's being more colorful with his sentence construction. He's trying new things. And all of a sudden he says War Games, which this was weird. I thought, because Solo just beat Roman. So I thought Roman should have been the one that challenged Solo at War Games, but instead it went the other way around, where Solo's like, yo, I want more of you. I didn't get enough the first time. So that was the only thing that was a little weird to me, but all the performances were super solid. So they established we're going to have War Games, and it's going to be 5-on-5, and you can't find 4 other guys. And Roman's like, yo, can you not do math? There's only 4 of you. And Solo's like, yeah, I can do math, you asshole. And don't ever insult me, my math skills again. I got straight A's. Our 5th is Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn comes out and he looks pissed and sad. I remember all these characters have different motivations. And Sami basically said to Roman, like, look, you got to apologize if you want me to work with you. And Roman was like, apologize to you, bro? You hit me in the back with a steel chair. He's like, nah, dude, to Jay. And the whole crowd, yeah. And Roman wouldn't do it because he's arrogant. And throughout the show, they show backstage segments where that arrogance is isolating him more and more. He lost Jimmy. Then he loses Jay. Then he lost Sami. Then he loses Jay. Then he loses Jimmy. And he acts like he doesn't care. And then when they leave, you can see he's like, shit, do I care? I don't friggin' know. He goes out there all alone by himself. They're beating him down. And then the Usos come out when Sami's there. And they're like, yo, forget you, Sami. They go out, they fight, they get beat down. Solo's about to kill Roman. He says, Sami, no, you do it. You come in here, you do it. And Sami goes in the ring and he goes to do his haluva kick. And it's one hell of a kick. That's a dad joke. I'm allowed to do those. I'm a dad. And he kicks Solo instead of Roman. And all of a sudden, they have this great moment without dialogue after they clear the ring where Jimmy's standing behind Sami. Jay is standing behind Sami and Jimmy's standing behind Roman. And Jay puts his finger up. We the ones. They used to do that for those of you who are just tuning into wrestling. And then Jimmy sees his brother and he's like, we are the ones. And he puts his right hand up. They always do it with their right hand. They're super smart about it. It's always synchronized and it looks cool. And then Sami and Roman get kind of face to face. And Sami's like, you want to do this again? You want this? I'm putting up the 1. And the crowd goes crazy. They're all screaming because they want this reunification of the original bloodline. And Roman looks at him and he can see the crowd wants it. And then Roman goes, you're goddamn right. We are the ones. And they all put up the 1s and the crowd goes crazy because we got the original bloodline back. And the bloodline's going to take on the new bloodline at War Games, as Sir William Regal would say. So SmackDown is still the best wrestling show on television. And that's all you need to freaking know. Now let's talk Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. This rivalry will probably end with Kevin going over as the jerk face butthole heel that he will certainly be. But I have a different take on this as well, you guys. I know a lot of you are upset with Kevin Owens right now and think he's a jerk. And you know that Randy has a bad back and you're just going to hit him with a pile driver. That's a terrible thing to do. But let me tell you something, you guys. I want to take you back over 10 years ago, I think, to an episode of Monday Night Raw in St. Louis, Missouri. back when they had this terrible idea of having the special guest general managers with no experience in general management. But because they were famous actors or musicians, they got to be it for a night, just for one night. And they got to screw up the whole show. Well, yours truly was one of them. And I know what you're saying. Freddie, you weren't just one of them. You were the best of them. And I appreciate that. That's a nice thing to say right now. I appreciate it a lot. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, Randy Orton didn't want me there that night. And he let me know, and I kind of gave him a little attitude. And I turned my back on him because I was naive and foolish and didn't think he was this dirty snake in the grass. And he grabbed me from behind. He put his arm across my throat. He slid in behind me, and he broke my back with a modified backbreaker. And it hurt, and I grimaced. Not like the fat guy from McDonald's. It hurt. It was a painful grin, a grimace. And I was dragged out. It took me years to recover. And I texted Kevin Owens. All right, the next part of the story is not true. I texted Kevin Owens and I said, look, man, I know you're a good guy, but if you could just flip it in Germany, and then when you come back to the States, kind of maintain it, and then on a Friday night SmackDown, just smash his neck. And Kevin said, don't call it SmackDown. Show some freaking respect. I said, okay, I'm sorry. Said, if you're on SmackDown, could you please hit him with the pile driver and tell him that is from Freddie. I'm sure you guys can all read lips now. You guys saw him say it. And it was a beautiful moment for me and my family. We all watched together by the fire. We had cocoa and toasted marshmallows. Again, a lot of this story is not true. Not the marshmallow part anyway. We don't have any of those. But Randy's hurt, and Kevin Owens is going to be a made man and is going to be the top heel. Is he going to be the top heel on SmackDown, or is that going to be Solo Sikoa? I guess it depends who wins that Survivor Series. Let's move on, people, to AEW. They have not had the type of long-term storytelling that WWE has had. The last time they had some real long-term storytelling, I think, was probably Max and Adam before Adam got hurt. That said, they're trying to tell some stories now. And they brought in a man who is a masterful storyteller, an MVP, and two masterful wrestlers in Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. And MVP can speak for both of these men, although he doesn't have to, but he is the perfect mouthpiece in wrestling right now. He's clear. He delivers the message. He can do it backstage. He can do it center of the ring. You heard the crowd chanting MVP, MVP. He tells Tony Schiavone, don't be rude. The people are talking right now, so he can improvise as well. And they let Swerve Strickland know that they wanted to be friends, but he rejected that card, that business card. And when you get a business card from the Hurt Business, you better respect it or you're going to be their enemy. Swerve Strickland's having none of it. He comes out, and you'd think he'd have a lot to say. But on this night, he was a man of few words. And he just came out, and he straight up challenged him. Full gear, which is all they wanted. Because it's 3-on-1. It's MVP. It's Shelton. It's Bobby Lashley. There could be more people coming. Remember, they were messing with Ricochet backstage. I don't think Ricochet would be the one that would join the Hurt Business. That doesn't seem to fit. But his surprise tag team partner, Powerhouse Hobbs, hello? You don't think he'd be a perfect fit? You don't think he could turn on Ricochet and then join the Hurt Business? And that was the angle that they were working. So there's all kinds of room for big, badass dudes in this new faction. And again, as long as they're allowed to tell the stories that they're trying to tell, and they allow these to be stretched out and build this group up and not bring this group down, then you can build up your long-term storytelling ability. You just have to have the right people. Don Callis is a good manager, and they featured him so much, and the more they featured him, the better he got. I know I talk about managers a lot, but I think it's a lost art for him, and I love when people utilize them. Now they have another manager, an MVP. They have both these guys that can help tell stories. Not every wrestler is going to be Marlon friggin' Brando. I guess people don't know who he is anymore. Robert Downey Jr. Not, you know what I mean? Like, they're not all going to be Denzel Washington. You know, sometimes they're going to be who they are, and they need help telling that story. And that's what managers can do. So I love this for everybody at AEW, anyone they're interacting with. I love it for Swerve, love it for Bobby Lashley. And I'm glad to see managers getting used. A team that does not need a manager is the newly branded Death Riders, formerly known as the Blackpool Combat Club. But there's nothing Blackpool about them anymore. Regal's been gone forever. Daniel Bryan's been exorcised from the group. So they've renamed themselves organically the Death Riders. It's a great way to get more merch. They've been starting beef with Orange Cassidy, the Squozen one, and Darby Allin, who makes his debut each week from a different area in the arena. This week he jumped off the entrance. It was pretty sick. Sometimes he's lowered in like a worm on a hook, and other times he just rushes in from the crowd. But one of these guys has to be being built up to become the next champion. Or are they? Or are these guys sacrificial lambs that are going to establish Moxley as the man, and we're waiting for someone else to take that spot? This is one of the times where I don't have a guess. I just don't. I'll make predictions when they have a pay-per-view on who I think is going to win. But in a conversational format like this, I don't know which one of them is ready. I don't know if one of them is more ready than the other. I think they're about the same on the mic, even though Orange Cassidy's gimmick is he doesn't talk on the mic, which I think is genius. So when he does, it means something. Both guys can wrestle. Both are smaller guys. AEW has a lot of smaller guys and features them. I'm not a hater on the smaller guys. I grew up watching original UFCs and watched a guy named Hoist Gracie tap out guys that were 150 pounds bigger than him. Smaller guys can win fights. So I don't know. I think Jon Moxley's so perfect in this model that he's presented that I don't want to see it lose yet. So I don't know if either of these guys can win, at least not yet. Maybe you sacrifice one over the next 8 weeks, and over those 8 weeks, you're building the other, and then you add another 2 months to that. So it's like a 4-month run for Darby or the Squozen one for them to then climb that mountain and get in. So at least another 6 months, right? You guys want to see that too. At least another 6 months of Jon Moxley, I think. So I wish I could give you guys a better guess, but I just can't. Anyway, Jon Moxley's awesome. And that's all you guys need to know. I want to go back to WWE real quick. What's Cody Rhodes' story going to be? Is it going to be Kevin? Because it's weird that the Universal Champion, I don't like that term, Universal Champion, the WWE Champion. It's weird to me that storyline isn't as relevant as the Bloodline story. It's weird that it would take a back seat to that. And I don't know if it can get in the front seat now. I don't know if it can ride shotgun because there's just not enough room in the car. There's going to be 8 guys in this. They got to have a minivan in order to get to these pay-per-views. It's just, it's so many of them, and so many of them are doing well that I don't know if I don't like saying we care, but yeah, I don't know if we care as much about the world championship as we do about who's going to be the tribal chief. Like, and that's good and bad, right? It's excellent storytelling on one hand, but at the same time, is it okay to sacrifice the champ story for the story that everyone is committed to? It's a tough question that they have to ask themselves probably every single week. But if it is Kevin, they can make that go a long time. Kevin is a top dude. Kevin's a guy I could see winning the belt. We mentioned it going back and forth so many times. You never want to hear me say it again, so I won't. But I could see it go back and forth. All right, you guys. Everybody stay tuned for Unsanctioned Thursdays. I'll give a little bit of an update on the promotion, talk to you guys about Australia and podcasting from out there, and we'll get more into wrestling, other goodies as well. Stay tuned. Make sure you guys always check us out on our social pages. It's the same name as the show, Wrestling with Freddie. And stop hassling our nice producer, Alex. He's a good guy. Be nice to Alex, because we are. Stay tuned. On behalf of Jeff Dye, who's on assignment in the great state of Texas, I'm Freddie Prinze Jr. Thanks for listening. Tune in Thursday. Stick with the Federation. Peace. This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.